Are you planning your next long-haul flight like you're just trying to survive it? Or are you planning it like a mission? Because the people you see walking off a 14-hour flight looking fresh, they aren't just lucky. They do things differently, starting 48 hours before the wheels even leave the ground. They don't just react to the chaos of travel, they anticipate it. They know which pillow actually works, how to silence that maddening engine drone, and why the socks they wear are non-negotiable. And they definitely don't wear cotton. Stick with me, and I'll show you the 12 strategies that airlines and frequent flyer blogs never tell you, and how they stack up to make your next long-haul flight genuinely comfortable. First up, let's talk about that sore neck. You know the one. You land, you feel like you can't turn your head to the left. Why? It's not just because you skipped sleep. It's because that floppy, U-shaped pillow you grabbed at the airport is actively working against you. Think about it. You slump into the seat, wrap it around your neck, and it feels fine. For about 5 minutes. Then, the inevitable chin creep starts. You nod off, your head falls forward, and the pillow, instead of catching you, just mushes down. Now your head is being pushed forward, away from the headrest. This turns your head into a lever. All those small stabilizer muscles in your neck, they spend the entire flight in a constant low-level fight, straining to hold your head back, fighting the tilt, fighting the pillow. That isn't rest. That's hours and hours of micro work. And that's why you're sore. So, here's what you do. Stabilize, don't just prop. Ditch the squishy horseshoe. Look for designs that actually anchor to the seat itself, like the Air Comfy Ease or the Travel Rest Nest. These have straps that loop around the headrest. When you lean back, your weight transfers into the seat, not into your neck muscles. The memory foam in these designs actually contours to your jawline and the base of your skull. The straps keep it from sliding around when the plane hits a bit of turbulence. When your pillow is locked to the seat, your head doesn't wander. Your muscles can finally go off duty. Why does this work so well? It's all about wobble control. In any flight, there are constant tiny vibrations. You might not even notice them, but your brain does. And your neck muscles are constantly making micro-corrections to keep your head stable. Those corrections are isometric. That means no movement, but all effort. It's like holding a small weight out at arm's length. Eventually, it gets heavy. When you reduce that wobble, you reduce the muscle firing that keeps you in that half-awake, twitchy state. Less isometric tension means you can sink into a deeper, steadier rest. You'll have far fewer of those wake with a jolt moments where your head snaps back. If the strap-on models aren't for you, look at the Infinity-style pillows. These are the ones that look like a big loop or scarf. You can wrap and reconfigure them. Coil one high on the side to support your neck laterally. Perfect for window seat sleepers. Then, mid-flight, you can unwrap it and fold it behind your lower back for lumbar support. You can even tuck a loop between your head and the window to create a side baffle that helps mute some of the cabin chatter. It's one piece, multiple rolls, but the goal is the same. Stop the forward drift and the side sag. So, quick tip you can use on your very next flight. Whatever pillow you have, try to anchor it. Use the headrest wings if your seat has them. Tilt them inward to cradle your head. Try to align your ear over your shoulder. Just stop the bobblehead effect. You'll save yourself a world of hurt. Okay, so your head is locked in. Now, let's quiet the rest of the cabin. What really ruins sleep on a plane isn't just the seat. It's the constant low-level assault on your senses. It's the stray photons from someone's reading light 2 rows up. It's the blue light from the screen next to you. And it's that relentless 70 to 80 Hz engine drone that keeps your brain on high alert. All of these signals, the light, the noise, are telling your nervous system one thing: stay awake, stay on patrol. You're just not wired for deep sleep in a bright, noisy environment. So you drift, you twitch, and you wake up feeling even more tired than when you sat down. That standard issue eye mask the airline gives you, it's not helping. It leaks light around the nose bridge, and it presses flat against your eyelashes, which is just annoying. Your brain still senses that light right through your eyelids, and that's enough to stall melatonin production. The solution? Swap it for a contoured blackout mask. These are the ones with molded cups over the eyes. They look a little strange, but they create a full seal against your face without actually touching your eyelids or crushing your lashes. You get true pitch-black darkness, and you can even blink normally underneath them. That total darkness sends a much more convincing "it's nighttime" signal to your brain than any recline angle ever will. Now, let's tackle the noise. Those cheap foam earplugs. They're okay for sharp sounds, but they do almost nothing for that deep, low-frequency rumble of the engines. This is where active noise canceling, ANC headphones, are king. They are specifically tuned for that exact frequency band. Here's how they work. A tiny microphone on the outside of the headphone samples the engine sound, and the processor inside instantly generates an inverse sound wave to cancel it out. It's brilliant. For the best effect, add foam tips to your earbuds, if you use in-ears, or make sure your over-ear headphones have a good seal. This blocks the high-pitched sounds the ANC might miss. Less drone means fewer micro-arousals, a lower cognitive load, and your brain can finally let go. One more pro tip for this. You've probably noticed that old in-flight entertainment systems only have that ancient 3.5mm headphone jack. This forces you to use the terrible airline earbuds. Unless you bring a tiny Bluetooth adapter. They cost about $20. You plug this little dongle into the jack, pair your good ANC headphones to it, and boom! You've got stable, high-quality audio without any wires getting tangled in your blanket. Just look for one with low latency so the audio matches the video, a battery that can clear 12 hours, and dual pairing if you're traveling with a partner and want to watch the same movie. So that's the stack. A contoured blackout mask for total darkness, good ANC headphones with a proper seal, and a Bluetooth adapter for the seat. Suddenly, your economy row turns into a dark, quiet, private capsule. Your body's clock finally gets the message and downshifts. Now, comfort isn't just about quiet. Your wardrobe can work like your own personal climate control. Here's a hard truth. Cotton is your enemy at 30,000 feet. It feels great at the gate, I know. But once you get to cruising altitude, it turns on you. The cabin air is desert dry, but the temperature can swing wildly from warm and stuffy on the ground to cool and breezy at altitude. When you inevitably sweat a little, that sweat can't evaporate easily in the recycled air. Cotton, being super absorbent, just soaks it all up. It gets damp, it sticks to your skin, and then it gets cold as the AC cycles. Your skin temperature drops, you start to shiver, and your body wastes precious energy just trying to claw back warmth. That's why you felt perfectly fine boarding, but 2 hours in, you feel clammy and restless. Here's the fix. Dress like an athlete. Build a comfort uniform that manages your microclimate. Start with a base layer, a breathable tee made of merino wool or a modern synthetic blend. Unlike cotton, these fibers wick moisture away from your skin and dry incredibly fast. This is the key. It keeps you from hitting those awful hot then cold swings. Add a mid-layer with a full zip, like a light fleece or hoodie. The zip is crucial. It lets you dump heat instantly while you're taxiing on a hot runway, and then seal that warmth back in when you get to altitude, all without having to do that awkward in-seat contortion act. Top it with a light shell, like a packable windbreaker. This blocks any direct drafts from the air vents but is breathable enough that it doesn't trap sweat. Each layer has a specific job: wick, regulate, and shield. Your core temperature stays steady, and your body isn't wasting energy. The science is simple. Wicking fabrics keep a thin, stable layer of dry air next to your skin. Less moisture means fewer temperature dips, less perceived chill, and fewer signals that nudge your body out of rest. In a cabin that sits at a bone-dry 10 to 20% humidity, preserving that skin microclimate is the difference between being relaxed and being restless. And don't ignore your lower half. Skip the rigid denim and tight waistbands that fight you every time you shift in your seat. Go with non-constrictive joggers or travel pants that have some stretch. Footwear matters too. Wear shoes you can slip on and off easily without a struggle. This keeps your circulation freer and gives your feet room when that inevitable swelling starts to build. It's simple. Dress for thermoregulation, not for a fashion show. You'll stay dry, you can adjust on the fly, and you'll land feeling much more refreshed. Here's a secret. You don't beat jet lag in the sky. You beat lines on the ground. Every single minute you waste standing in a queue, at check-in, at security, at customs, is a minute stolen from sleep, from a good meal, or from daylight at your destination. Each line is a friction point. Each one stacks on more stress and throws off your whole plan. Reactive travelers, they just show up, stare at the departure boards, and hope the lines move fast. But hope is not a strategy. A system is a strategy. Here's the system. In the US, you pair TSA PreCheck with Clear. They solve two different problems. Clear uses your biometrics, your eyes or fingerprints, to let you slide right past the first bottleneck, which is the ID check. Then, PreCheck moves you through the physical screening without taking off your shoes or pulling out your laptop. Two bottlenecks, two tools. Your time in line doesn't just drop, it becomes predictable. If you fly internationally, add global entry. This is the big one. It speeds you through US customs on your way back home, and as a bonus, it includes TSA PreCheck for all your domestic departures. That's one application that covers you in both directions. Now, add live intelligence. Get a real-time app like FlightAware or Flight Radar 24. These apps see what the airport screens don't. They pull data directly from FAA feeds and receivers to show you your inbound aircraft, the actual plane you'll be flying on, not just your flight number. Why does this matter? Because if that inbound plane is late leaving its last city or gets a last-minute gate swap, you will know about it first. That early ping gives you time. You can calmly switch terminals, find a closer security checkpoint, or even start a same-day rebook on your phone before the hundreds of other passengers on your flight rush the customer service desk. This combo does more than just save you a few minutes. It protects your precious seat choice because you always arrive at the gate early. It reduces the cortisol spikes from those last-second, final call scrambles. It turns the airport flow into simple muscle memory. So, stack Clear and PreCheck. Add global entry for international. And run your day off live flight data. Your walk from the curb to the gate becomes straight, short, and totally predictable. With all that time you saved, let's pick a seat like a pro, not by guesswork. Here's the problem. Two window seats can be total opposites. One perfectly frames the view, and the one right behind it stares directly at a blank plastic wall. This mismatch comes from tiny shifts in seat pitch and how the cabin panels are placed. And you will never spot this on the airline's cartoonish blue and white seat diagram. And please, stop using outdated advice. Those old forum-based tips from the early 2000s are lagging behind reality. Airlines refit their cabins all the time. You use an old map, you think you booked a quiet seat, and then you discover you're parked right next to a clattering galley cart for 10 hours. You have to fix this with real data, tied to your actual flight number and aircraft model. Here's the fix. Use aeroLOPA. That's aeroLOPA. It stands for Layout of Passenger Accommodations, and it features gorgeous, 2-scale, obsessively detailed diagrams of hundreds of aircraft. You'll see precise window alignment. You'll see where the baby bassinet positions are, so you know which bulkhead to avoid. You'll see which armrests are fixed and steal your hip width. You'll see exactly where the power ports are, so you're not fumbling around your feet looking for them. Then, you cross-check this with seat maps. Seat Maps adds 3D views and, most importantly, a flight number search. This helps you confirm the exact cabin version on your specific flight. Using these tools, you'll catch all the traps. The armrests that don't lift, the misaligned windows that kill the view, and the baby bassinet zones that are guaranteed to have some noise. Why does this matter? Because these precision maps reveal the real constraints. You'll see the real distance from your row to the galley, how close you are to the lavatory queue, and the true recline limits, like how that exit row seat behind you has a fixed shell. With this intel, you can match your seat to your goal. If sleep is king, you pick a mid-cabin seat, away from the noise of galleys and lavs. If the view is what you care about, you can target the exact row where the window centers on your shoulder, not your elbow. If legroom is the play, you can find bulkheads that add knee space without stealing the underseat storage you need for your personal item. So, the new process is open aeroLOPA, verify your plane's layout, and then choose your seat based on a single priority, not just a generic best seat recommendation. You'll sit down in the exact spot that serves your plan, not the airlines. Alright, let's talk baggage. Every checked bag is a promise to wait, and waiting is the absolute opposite of having control. Think of all the failure points: tight connections, last-minute gate changes, a broken carousel, a lost tag. These things stack up. They turn into missed trains, late hotel check-ins, and a first night spent on the phone with an airline agent. The stress tax just keeps rising as your bag takes a completely different vacation than you, on a route you can't see and can't speed up. One mishandled bag, and your first day abroad vanishes. It's gone, replaced by filling out forms, listening to hold music, and buying a $10 toothbrush from the airport shop. That's the real cost of checking a bag. Here's the fix. Run a 2-bag carry-on only system. Bag 1 is your main carry-on, a 40 to 45-liter backpack or roller that goes in the overhead bin. This is for your clothes and bulky items. Use packing cubes to compress everything and keep it organized. Tops in one, socks and underwear in another, laundry in a separate one. Bag 2 is your personal item. This is a slim backpack or messenger bag that goes under the seat in front of you. This bag is your personal vault. It contains everything critical: medications, electronics, chargers, travel documents, and a change of clothes. You can reach it mid-flight, and it never leaves your control. There's a simple research-level reason this works. Airlines lose fewer carry-ons because you maintain the chain of custody from your front door to your hotel room. You load it, you place it, you remove it. Of course, your boarding group matters. Getting on the plane earlier means you're guaranteed to get bin space right over your row. This is where you can leverage an airline credit card that gives you priority boarding, or just make sure to check in online exactly 24 hours beforehand. It's worth it to not be that person hunting for space 3 cabins back. On those small regional jets, the risk of a gate check spikes. The overheads are tiny, and they fill up instantly. Protect yourself by defaulting your essentials to that underseat bag before you even get to the gate. If the agent hands you a pink gate check tag at the jet bridge, it's no big deal. You just hand over your main bag, knowing that every single critical item is still with you. Carry-on only cuts the carousel and the chaos. The moment those wheels touch down, you just walk off the plane, out of the airport, and you're gone. Now for an in-seat trick. That dull ache in your lower back that builds up around hour 4? It isn't mad at the seat. It's mad at gravity. Here's what's happening. In a standard economy seat, your feet dangle, or they don't have good support. This makes your thighs slope down, which causes your pelvis to tip backward. When your pelvis tips back, your lumbar spine, your lower back, flattens out and takes the entire load. It feels natural to slouch to find relief, but that just stacks more load on the exact same tissues. It's a vicious cycle that punishes you an hour later. Here's the secret: the foot hammock. It's a dirt cheap, simple sling of fabric that hangs from the arms of the tray table in front of you. It just lifts your feet a few inches off the floor. That small rise does something magical. It levels your thighs, which allows your pelvis to rotate back into a more neutral, comfortable position. This cuts the bending force on your lower back dramatically. Better hip and knee alignment equals less lumbar pain. There's a bonus, too. Elevating your feet, even just a little, supports venous return. That means blood doesn't pool in your ankles as easily. Less pooling means less swelling, less of that tight skin feeling, and a lighter step when you finally get off the plane. It also promotes what's called active sitting. With your feet supported, you'll instinctively make tiny little position changes, subtle ankle pumps, micro shifts at the hips that keep your circulation moving. These tiny adjustments fight that awful long sit stiffness that sneaks up on you when your legs just hang and your core completely checks out. Think of it as adding a low-effort movement snack to every minute you're seated. Now, a quick word on policy. The tray table attachment. It's a bit of a gray zone. Some crews are totally fine with it, some don't like it. A few airlines have reported bans on anything that hooks to the tray or seat. At the end of the day, the flight crew has the final say. And of course, it always has to be stowed for taxi, takeoff, and landing. No debate there. So, bring a compact foot hammock. Set it low so your thighs run level with the floor. And just be ready to pack it away if you're asked. But when it's allowed, it is the cheapest, most effective posture upgrade on the entire plane. Speaking of circulation, there's one item that moves from the comfort category to medical must-have: compression socks. Think of them as seatbelts for your veins. When you sit for a long time, your venous return, the process of blood moving back up to your heart, slows way down. Gravity pulls that blood down into your calves. That pooling has a medical name: venous stasis, and it is the perfect runway for blood clots. Swelling in your feet is annoying. A blood clot is life-threatening. All the comfort gear in the world won't fix how your vein valves work. You need pressure that does the job for them. That's where a real compression sock steps in. Here's the fix. You need graduated compression at 15 to 20 millimeters of mercury. Graduated means the squeeze is strongest at the ankle and it eases up as it goes up your leg. This mechanism physically assists those tiny, one-way valves in your veins, pushing the blood upward against gravity. This isn't just a cozy, tight sock. It's a medical tool. The Mayo Clinic backs this specific pressure range for travel because it's effective for most healthy flyers without crossing into prescription territory. When you put them on, it should feel like a gentle, reassuring hug, not a tourniquet. What you get is measurable. You'll have significantly less edema, that's swelling, in your ankles. You'll have a much lower risk of deep vein thrombosis, DVT. And you'll have way less of that heavy, lead legs fatigue when you stand up after landing. To amplify the effect, add an hourly movement routine right in your seat. Just do some simple ankle circles, foot pumps, flex and point, and a few knee lifts. Those small muscle contractions act like a second pump for your veins and keep that stasis from building up. One last thing. Fit is everything. If you get the wrong size, they won't work, or they could even be dangerous. Measure your ankle and the widest part of your calf in the morning before any swelling starts. Then, match those numbers precisely to the manufacturer's sizing chart. If the top band is too tight and it rolls down, it creates a tight ring that can block flow and defeat the whole purpose. You want a top band that lies smooth and flat. Put them on before you leave for the airport so they're working from minute one. Then just forget about them. They'll be doing their job quietly the whole flight while you rest. Now let's fix the clock in your brain so you don't lose your first 2 days on arrival. Your body runs on light and timing, not on wishes. If you treat jet lag like some vague vibe you just have to get through, you will pay for it. You'll be foggy, irritable, and wide awake at 2 a.m., staring at the hotel ceiling. You have to treat your internal clock like a schedule you can actively program. You can start pre-shifting your clock 1 to 2 hours before you even fly. This small move pays off fast. Here's how. In the 3 days before your flight, start shifting your bedtime and your wake-up time by 30 to 45 minutes each day in the direction of your destination. Just as importantly, nudge your meal times along with it. Your internal clock will start to follow this new cadence before you even board the plane. Most travelers ignore this. They board on their home time, land, and then spend 3 or 4 days feeling awful trying to claw their way back to a normal sleep schedule. That's the recovery tax. You can beat it with a simple playbook. The moment you get to the gate, set every device you own, your phone, your watch, your laptop, to destination time. Your brain needs to get constant cues of the new time every single time you glance at a screen. If you're on an eastbound trip, like the US to Europe, you are phase advancing or moving your clock earlier. The key here is to chase morning light at your destination. The moment you land, get outside. Get sunlight in your eyes. And in the evening, block late evening light. Wear sunglasses, dim your screens. If you're on a westbound trip, like Europe to the US, you are phase delaying or moving your clock later. Here, you do the opposite. You want to avoid early morning sun when you arrive. Wear sunglasses if you have to be out. And then grab as much light as you can in the late afternoon and early evening. This helps push your clock later. You can add low-dose melatonin to help. And I mean low-dose, like 0.5 milligrams. Most pills in the store are 5 or 10 milligrams, which is massive overkill. The goal is a gentle nudge, not a knockout punch. Take that tiny dose at your destination's target bedtime, not just whenever you feel tired. Finally, protect your sleep. Limit alcohol on the flight. It might make you drowsy, but it fragments your sleep and destroys the deep, restorative stages. And cap your caffeine at least 8 hours before your new, planned bedtime. Small, consistent shifts will beat one drastic, one-day flip every single time. Here's an edge that has nothing to do with being on the plane. Book the first flight of the day. Delay chains build like rush hour traffic. The 6 a.m. flight slips out before the system gets clogged. The aircraft and the crew are fresh, and they are starting on time. When a plane overnights at your airport, it isn't waiting on a late inbound flight to arrive, unload, and turn around. You just board, push back, and go. That clean start is everything if you actually care about landing when your ticket says you will. Later departures are playing catch-up all day. A minor maintenance check in another city, a slow de-icing queue, a crew that's timing out. All of this turns into a rolling cascading delay. You miss one connection, and you risk a domino effect of rebookings and scrambles. That's how your easy afternoon hop turns into a stressful overnight in an airport hotel. The whole network is tightly linked. Once it slips, everything behind it slips too. There's another advantage to the morning: the air itself. Before the heat of the day ramps up, the atmosphere is usually much more stable. Convection hasn't kicked off yet, which means thunderstorms are less common and less intense. Less convective activity means fewer weather holds, fewer reroutes, and a lower chance of those big bumpy rides tied to towering clouds. You can still get a wobble, but the odds are definitely tilted in your favor. The numbers back this up. FAA and DOT data consistently show far fewer average delay minutes for early departures. The on-time arrival stats for that first wave of flights, between about 6 a.m. and 8 a.m., are dramatically better. Why? Because those flights avoid inbound dependencies. They aren't depending on another flight to arrive first. Fewer delays mean fewer rebooks, less stress, and a smoother, more predictable day from end to end. When you pair that morning slot with your smart ground moves, like your trusted traveler lanes and your real-time flight tracking, you just amplify that advantage. So book the first viable flight of the day. You'll start calm, you'll land closer to your schedule, and you'll keep your body clock right on its rails. This one sounds simple, but everyone gets it wrong. Hydrate like it's a strategy, not just something you do when you're thirsty. The cabin of a plane at cruising altitude can be drier than the Sahara Desert. We're talking 10–20% humidity, and your body notices it fast. Low humidity hits all the places that keep you comfortable: your eyes, your nose, your skin, and the fluid balance that keeps your brain sharp. That thin, dry air pulls moisture directly from your mucous membranes. This makes them less effective at filtering out germs and irritants. This is why you always get that scratchy throat, the tight-feeling skin, and the gritty, sandpaper eyes. Then, the cart comes by, you get a tiny cup of water, and you hope it helps. It won't. One bottle isn't going to touch it. Here's the plan. Aim for about 8 ounces, or 250 milliliters, of water per flight hour. The key is to bring your own refillable bottle and top it off after you get through security. Steady, consistent intake beats big gulps. Just take a few sips every 15 to 20 minutes when you're awake. But drinking isn't enough. You have to add topical support. Use a simple saline nasal spray 2 or 3 times during the flight. This keeps your nasal tissues moist and healthy. Use preservative-free eye drops to prevent that glass grit feeling. And finally, seal it all in with a light, non-fragrant moisturizer on your hands and face. This helps your skin barrier hold onto its own water longer. There's a direct payoff to this. Proper hydration supports your mucosal defense, so you're less likely to catch that inevitable plane cold, and just boosts your overall comfort. Your body sleeps better when it isn't fighting dryness, and you'll wake up fewer times desperately hunting for water. And please, protect the plan. Skip the diuretics that are working against you. That free glass of wine or beer and that late flight coffee are both increasing your fluid loss and chipping away at your sleep quality. Limit both if you care about landing clear-headed and functional. So, stack your hydration, water per hour, saline for your nose, drops for your eyes, and moisturizer to lock it in. You'll feel human mid-flight and ready to go on landing. Alright, my last strategy isn't a single item, it's a mindset. Win the 48-hour window before you fly. The flight itself shouldn't be the main event. If you do it right, the flight is just maintenance. It's the preparation that matters. This is where you bring it all together. In the 2 days before your flight, you're not just throwing things in a bag. You are actively managing your clock. You're starting to pre-shift your sleep and meal times. You're confirming your seat with aeroLOPA. You're pre-hydrating, drinking more water than usual so you start from a good baseline. You're checking your comfort uniform and your 2-bag setup. You're charging your ANC headphones and your Bluetooth adapter. You're making sure your travel apps are updated and your global entry card is in your wallet. When you do this, you board the plane calm instead of rushed. You're not stressed. You're not forgetting things. You're not at the mercy of the system. You are in control of the system. You've already programmed your clock. You've engineered your own personal space with the right pillow and the right noise canceling. You've got your hydration plan, your compression socks on, and your essentials safely under the seat in front of you. All that's left to do is sit back, relax, and let the plan work. That's the system. It's not one magic bullet. It's 12 small, smart choices that stack up to create a huge win. You adjust your sleep and light before you go. You lock in your ground game with trusted traveler lanes and live flight tracking. You pick your seat with data, not a guess. You dress for regulation, not for the gate. You build a bubble of darkness and silence. You support your posture, protect your veins, and hydrate strategically. When you do this, you turn a 14-hour endurance test into a private, comfortable rest period. Adopt this system, and then share it with a friend who still packs cotton for a long haul and just hopes for a good flight. Want more data-driven travel wins like these? Subscribe and let me know in the comments which route you're optimizing next, and we'll figure out how to tune it together. Fly smart.